Today we are going to look at compound interest, how it can work for you and against you. Compound interest can be an amazing tool used over a long period of time. However, it can also be a very destructive tool when used against you. So let's jump right in. Hey everyone, this is Lauren Mack with Hacking the Rat Race, and I would love for you to hit the like button and subscribe so you don't miss any more videos on money, saving, and investing. So like I said before, we're gonna look at how compound interest works for you and against you. This is pulled from a lecture on my Udemy course called The Complete and Practical Guide to Personal Finance for Beginners, and I will have a link to it in the show notes below. But basically, it is a complete course on personal finance for beginners who think personal finance is way overwhelming or confusing or just haven't learned about personal finance. So today, in this video, we're gonna look at how compound interest works for you and against you. So let's jump right in. In this lecture, we're gonna talk about compound interest, how it can work for you, and also how it can work against you. So the first thing we're going to look at is how compound interest is calculated compared to simple interest. So first of all, simple interest is just taking the base amount, multiplying it by the interest rate, and adding those two together, as you'll see soon. And then each year, you do the same thing, and then you just add the interest on. The difference with compound interest is you have the base amount. For the first year, you multiply it by your interest rate. But in the second year, with compound interest, you take the base amount that you invested, you multiply it times the interest rate, and then the second year, you calculate interest off of the total amount of money you had last year plus the interest. So we'll see in this example. So in this example, we are going to say that we are depositing $2,000. And keep in mind, for this example, we will not be depositing any other money into this account, just the initial $2,000, and it's going to be with a 10% interest rate. And that is a very high interest rate when you're considering things like high interest savings accounts and things like that, but it just makes for an easy example. So that's why we're using 10% as the interest rate. So you'll see here in year one, you're going to have the simple interest is going to be 2,000 times 0.10, which is the interest rate, 10%, and you're going to get $2,200. For compound interest, it's going to be the same in the first year because the first year you're only multiplying the interest to the base amount. So let's see what happens in year two. In year two, with simple interest, we took the base amount $2,000, we multiplied it times 10% interest, which gave us the $200 in interest. So we take that $200 and we add it to our previous balance, which was $2,200, which gives us a total for year two of $2,400. However, you'll notice in the compound interest section that there's actually more interest. And the reason for that is because with compound interest, you don't just multiply it against the $2,000 base amount, you multiply the 10% interest against the total amount of interest and base from last year. So instead of doing 10% times 2,000 for compound interest, we do 10% times the 2,200, which gives us $2,420. So in year two, we already have $20 more and we haven't even added any more money. It's the same original $2,000. So now let's see what happens in year three. In year three, with simple interest, you do the same thing, $2,000 times 10% interest, which is $200, and you add that to your current balance, which was $2,400 from year two, so your total is $2,600. However, for compound interest, we're going to be multiplying that 10% by the $2,420 ending balance of year two. So the total compound interest for year three is $2,662. In year three, you can see the compound interest already has $62 more than the account with simple interest. So let's fast forward this 30 years. Let's see what 30 years looks like. Wow, what a difference. So in 30 years, with simple interest, just taking the base amount times 10% and then adding that $200 year over year, your total account balance for simple interest would be $8,000. Not bad, right, for your initial investment of $2,000? Now let's look at compound interest. By compounding the interest year over year over year, at year 30, we have $34,898.80. That difference is massive. Literally $26,898.80 more than the account with simple interest, and literally the only difference is the compound interest. It's the same initial $2,000 deposit for both. So now you can see the power of compound interest. It is massive. So again, I'm going to show you quickly how to calculate compound interest. I know we just went over it, but I would like to show it to you in this format so it's easier to see. So year one, you have $2,000 at a 10% interest rate. So you multiply $2,000 times 0.10, and your total is $2,200. So now we have year two. So you take that $2,200 and you multiply it by 10%, which is 0.10. And in year two, that's how we came up with $2,420. And our final example, year three, you take the $2,420 and you multiply it by 10%, the 0.10. And that is how we came up with the $2,662. So this is how you can calculate compound interest on your own to see how much money you can save over a set amount of time with a set interest rate. So the next thing we're going to look at is the destruction of compound interest with credit cards. So while compound interest can work in your favor, it can equally work against you, which is often what happens with interest on credit cards. Due to the complexity of calculating compound interest with daily balances on credit cards, I'm not going to break it down as much as I did with the account with compound interest I just showed you. However, I want to show you how this works high level so you can see why it's best to pay off your credit cards so you don't have the compound interest going against you. So the first thing you would do is you would divide your APR, which is your annual percentage rate, by 365 days. So for example, if your annual percentage rate was 20%, you would divide that by 365. That would give you a 0.0005 DPR, which is daily percentage rate. Then you're going to multiply that amount by the daily balance. And again, if you have a balance on your card and then you're adding stuff daily and then you have the grace period, that's why it's hard to show a really good example. Basically, the amount that can be charged interest, they charge that daily percentage rate against the daily balance. And then each day the interest from the previous day will be included in the daily amount, just like from the previous example where the interest accumulated from the previous year was calculated into that amount. So this is going to be on a daily basis. This interest is going to be compounding against you. So again, compound interest is amazing. It is a wonderful tool that can make you so much money over time. However, it can also work against you in the case of credit card interest. So again, this is why it is so important to pay off your balance every month and not carry a balance that is accruing interest on a credit card, because that is being compounded against you on a daily basis. So now we've seen the positive side of compound interest and the negative side of compound interest. So now I will see you in the next lecture. Thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to hit the like button. It literally costs nothing and it does so much for this channel. And if you're interested in this course, don't forget that the link is in the show notes below. And also don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any more videos on money, saving, and investing. And I will see you in the next video.